to go down to the bottom lane to make it a 3 versus 2 on the bottom. And the outside line has just lost all of its momentum. Everyone going down to the bottom lane now. They'll be getting ready to reset for the next couple of laps, as we're going to have 3 laps left to run when Sanchez gets across the start-finish line here. But it's going to be interesting to see whether Harmon is going to push Sanchez to the win, or whether he is going to make a run at Derek Myers, the teammate of Gerald West. Oh, and the 98 of Jerry Glenn's just gone round. I think that was off the bumper of Logan Lansford. And that is going to give the advantage to Gerald West here on the outside line. But can they hold it? That is the question. Did they make their move too soon? Thomas Harmon sitting there just in behind them. He moves up. Derek blocks. He moves down. Derek blocks again. And we have contact. Derek Myers goes round. The win is going to Thomas Harmon. Thomas Harmon wins this race. P2 goes to Brian Harris. P3 to Logan Lansford. What an incredible... Seeing what happened here coming off of turn 4. Pretty sure it was the 8th. Hello everyone and welcome to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and welcome to the second race in the chase for the Output Racing League Cup. We have 19 drivers to take on racing action here around what is a very, very difficult circuit course, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I'm your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator, and I'll be the one guiding you through what is sure to be a fairly technical kind of a race. Now we're going to be calling this one the Gladiator 150. Actually, no, it's Gladiator 110. So the Gladiator 110 here for the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, race number 2 in the chase, as I said. And it looks like cars are just starting to hit track for a pit party. There's some who are just coming into the pits. But there's almost everyone else who is exiting the pits. So we can get a pit party underway here. This is a mile-long track, which means you can run 5th gear if you so choose. But results may not be to your liking. You see one Frank Isaacson spinning in the background there. There he is. That was from contact from the 78 Brian Pizzicami. But for the most part, we're all lined up and ready to go here for the pit party. It's Kyle Kraus and Corey Cook on the front row. And they're off and racing. Already 3 wide as Jonathan Hernandez tries to pick the middle of John Lazelle and Robert DeVore. But he backs out of it and slots in behind Lazelle. 5 of Mark Pentacuff hit the fence there. Oh, and around goes the 2 of Chris Champeau. Looks like the 5 of Mark Pentacuff in the fence as well. Not sure what happens at either of them. As Steinhauser just dodges around the Strucken 2 car. And around now goes Robert DeVore. The bumps on this track playing havoc with the cars as low as they are. Making them really loose on the exit of the corners. And there's also a little bit of tightness on entry, especially if you utilize that 5th gear. But we'll wait and see how these drivers handle it. It's a very tricky, almost flat mile-long track. And it might not seem like it, but this is historically a fairly dangerous track at that. Most notably in the early 2000s, the late 90s, taking the lives of a couple of fairly prolific people, including one Adam Petty. But for the moment, our 19 drivers tackling this course as around goes John Lazelle and Joe Slama. Sanchez caught up in it as well. Just trying to figure out who that was that was spinning with Sanchez. It's Cox, Paul Cox. Currently, Brian Pizzicami sitting on top of the timetables with a 29.907. That was done using the Chastain line in 3 and 4. So that time obviously will not really count. But Burgess is up there as well in 2nd, Thomas Harmon 3rd, Kyle Kraus 4th, and Andrew Hennessy sitting in 5th currently. And there is Robert DeVore, who was facing the inside wall. So this is actually going to be a very important practice session because it's all about getting a handle on these cars around this track, which is not an easy task. But those bumps in the corners making it difficult, and the choice between using 4th or 5th gear. Of course, with 5th gear, you can give it a little bit more gas on exit, but you sacrifice entry. With 4th gear, you can definitely get in a little bit better, and you can get out better as long as you know how to keep your throttle in check. You also want to watch getting outside of that concrete groove on the low side of the corners, because if you hit the asphalt, you're probably going to end up sailing pretty close to the fence. Although Mark Pentacuff makes a liar out of me this time. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's only got 4 lap-old tyres on it. So that's why he's still be good. Jonathan Hernandez currently sitting in P6. And he's got a 30.317. Just behind him, Mark Penchkup, as I said, he's down in 18th at the moment. There's Corey Steinhauser. He's currently down in 19th. Just in front of him is Thomas Harmon. And just behind is the two of Chris Champeau. Thomas Harmon currently P3, Chris Champeau currently 14th in practice. But sometimes it's not about being fast, sometimes it's just all about surviving. And a track like this is definitely one that's all about survival, as Hernandez and Penchkup have just both found out. An impressive array of cars there on the in the pits. Around goes Steinhauser. Gave it a little bit too many berries, and around he went. Interesting also seeing some people practicing pit entry around here. Got a couple of drivers out there that I spoke to before the race predicting a few cautions, and then a couple that reckon that maybe we'll end up squeezing in a long enough green flag run for green flag stops. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to pan out as John Lasell comes onto the track right behind Joe Slama. And Slama has worked his way up into 5th now, and John Lasell down in 9th. But Joe and John still on track here next to each other as they're continuing on. Joe currently running with 9 lap old tyres, as John has 4 lap old tyres. They come across the line. They have a scheduled distance of 110 laps in this race. You see John Lasell trying to make the move on Joe Slama now. See how Slama can defend it. There's not that much difference between the two tyres. Maybe about 4 laps, maybe. Maybe a little bit more than 4, about 6 laps. But still, I feel like that's at least defendable. And Slama is doing a pretty good job of it so far in that outside line. I think that is going to be the go-to line for trying to make early passes and defending. As the momentum you can gain going around that outside is definitely very worth it. There's the 13, Travis Massier. Like he's just come out of the pits. And Corey Steinhauser trying to chastain the wall. And Slama still in front of Lasell there. So obviously that outside defense working out for him. And Lasell's just gone spinning off the back straight, coming out of turn 2. Travis Smasher in the 13. Oh, Thomas Harmon, the 38, looks like he's just had a spin coming off of turn 4. He's going to pull it up and get some new tyres on that thing. Travis Massey trying to catch up to TJ Crampton here. Oh, and around goes Salama. Coming out of turn 2. And big drifter moment there for Travis Massey. He's currently in 16th. So if we do a quick scope of the field right now, it's Pizzicami, Burgess, Harmon, Kraus, Salama, Hennessy, Hernandez, Cox, Lizelle, and Sanchez as your top 10. And Isaacson, Crampton, Cook, DeVore, Champeau, Massey, Watson, Pentacup, and Steinhauser. Wrapping up the rest of the field. As I said, 19 cars take on the racing action. Strength of field a 28.65. Not a bad strength of field at all there for the 19 cars. And everyone is an A-class license besides the 3 of Paul Cox, who has a B-class license at the moment. Lowest I rating goes the way of Mark Pentacup, who's sitting at a 1700. And the highest I rating, if I am reading this correctly, actually goes to Andrew Hennessy, who is sitting at a 6027. We see the 2 of Chris Champeau trying to chastain the wall. Champeau he's currently in 15th. There's Lizelle and Steinhauser both off on the back straight. Just in the dog leg that leads into the road course. Just saw someone else spearing off in the background there as well. Oh, the 3 of Paul Cox, the 5 of Mark Pentacup. And I'm not sure who else joined in on that. I think that was Frank Isaacson. There's John Lizelle coming back out on track with Thomas Harmon. Stopped in the back there is Frank Isaacson. And Paul Cox trying to catch up to Matt Burgess. Cox currently in 8th. We look back at Thomas Harmon sitting in P3, looking to extend his advantage going into next week, which will be the cutoff race, where we get our final 4 for the fight for the championship. Currently, Thomas Harmon is leading the challenge by 12 points over Matt Burgess. Chris Champeau following Joe Salama. Thomas Harmon looking a little bit closer to John Lizelle than we've seen him previously. And even bouncing off the fence there a little bit. Lizelle trying to get down to the lowest of the low lines. Harmon trying a little bit of a higher line to get that momentum up. It's one thing to be fast around here, it's another thing to conserve your tyres. And then it's another thing altogether to make positions. We see Kyle Kraus and Corey Steinhauser coming out of the pits. And spun on the back straight was the 3 of Paul Cox. And that's the middle of 1 and 2. Spun for John Lizelle. And it looked like Thomas Harmon nowhere to go. Kyle Kraus here just pulling it away from Steinhauser. Like Steinhauser just really struggling for pace. He's 7/10 off the lead. And around goes Steinhauser, just pushing that little bit too hard. With less than 10 minutes to go now in practice. Looks like Steinhauser is going to come out with John Lizelle. And just behind them is going to be the 60 of Kyle Kraus. Oh, Kraus got a little bit loose there coming out of 4. See, but a little bit of a twerk the car gave. But Steinhauser just kissed the wall there as well. And now Chris Champeau jumps on the back of this group. And Kyle Kraus actually practicing the pit entry. As I just saw the 13, Travis Massio spun on the front straight. I seem to find practice does, but also does not really give you a good scope of how the race is going to go. Because as I've been saying, it's one thing to be fast as Steinhauser. It's all kinds of wrong coming out of turn 4. One thing to be fast in practice over a single lap. It's another thing to be consistently fast over a run. There's the Ford League owner and operator, Jaron Sanchez. He has a Robbie DeVore on his tail. Oh. And spun out was the 3 of Paul Cox, and Sanchez got loose and spun straight into him. Sanchez currently in the 10th position in the standings. Kyle Kraus on the inside of John Lizelle here. Chris Champeau still on the back of these guys. I think Kyle actually just came out of the pits, which, yep, he did. So he's got the super fresh tyres on. And John Lizelle has the oldest tyres in this little group by 1 lap. Looks like Kyle Kraus got a little bit loose there coming out of turn 2. Allowed Lizelle and Champeau to catch up to him. Champeau going for the asphalt outside line. Didn't quite work dividends for him, but he did slam the fence, and now around he goes on the front straight. And with the impacts that he got to the rear and the front of that car, I think we're going to have to send him to the care center for concussion protocol. We now have less than 5 minutes left. Means about 28 or 9 laps. No, not 28 or 9. It'd be like 8 or 9 laps left to run. Oh, Thomas Harmon's got it wrong coming out of turn 2. Not very often we see Harmon making mistakes. There's Frank Isaacson and Corey Steinhauser. You guys have a storied rivalry within the Output Racing League. And that just goes to show it. Frank gave Corey a little love tap going into the corner. There's John Lozelle and Chris Champeau still on track together. Champeau with much fresher tyres this time though. Oh, it looks like he's going to try and chastain it around the whole track. Oh, but it's not going to work because he definitely broke something that time. Time is ticking away. Let some of these guys start to lose focus towards the end of a practice session. As in the background, around went to 13 and Travis Massia quickly extricated himself from the track. Now Frank's trying to make a move on the inside of John Lozelle. And there's Robbie DeVore, he's trying to look for a way around Matt Burgess. And popping out of the pits there around them is the two of Chris Champeau. A little bit of a love tap from Matt Burgess. Oh, side by side now, Steinhauser and Thomas Harmon. Steinhauser on 4 lap hole tyres, Harmon on 5. Robert DeVore collects the fence in the middle of 1 and 2. Oh, it looks like Steinhauser was doing a good job defending from Harmon until this point here. And something's definitely broken on that 65 car. We now just have less than a minute left in practice. There's not really much else that any driver can really do out there to improve their stuff. So we are going to go to a commercial break while these guys go qualifying. When we come back, we'll see the results of said qualifying effort. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More action from the Gladiator 110 coming up here shortly. welcome back to the Gladiator 110 here from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Qualifying has been complete, the grid is set, and it's time to let these drivers loose and see what they can do around the New Hampshire Motor Speedway here for 110 laps, the second race in their chase for the Output Cup. On the pole, the 99 of Andrew Hennessy with a 30.366 lap time. On his outside will be the 38 of Thomas Harmon. In P3 we had the 9 of Joe Slama with P4 the 23 of John Lozelle. P5 is the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez with P6 the 60 of Kyle Kraus. P7 will be the 12 of Matt Burgess with P8 the 6 of Robbie DeVore. P9 will be the 2 of Chris Champo with P10 the 13 of Travis Massia. And then we're going to have Frank Isaacson, Corey Cook, James Watson, Jaron Sanchez, TJ Crandon, Corey Steinhauser, Brian Pizzacami, Paul Cox and Mark Pentacuff wrapping up your 19 car field. So here we go. Everyone getting ready to rumble. Only the one pace lap, and then we get to set these guys loose. $19 cars, 110 laps, 28.65 strength of field. Pace car is going to make the hard left turn. The first start is on green. All the restarts on the leader in the restart zone. The pace car is in. And we're off and racing. A great start there by the top four on the inside lane. And another great start as well for the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Holding strong on the outside of the 99. And it looks like for the most part everyone making it through turns 1 and 2 cleanly. As Andrew Hennessy storms out into the lead, Thomas Harmon is well and truly in second. You've got Joe Slama and John Lozelle battling it out over fourth. Still side by side they go into turn 1 this time. Oh, and we've got drama in the background. 3 cars around. One of them being the 4 Jaron Sanchez. Back this up and see what unfolded. Caution has come out. Going through turns 1 and 2. Sanchez there on the outside of Frank Isaacson. And it looks like he's already started to get sideways. Get that rear end stepping out. There is the counter steer trying to save it. Also just trying to keep it off of Frank, who's on his inside. Oh, unable to avoid Frank there. And he still hasn't quite caught it yet. Oh, and it looks like there's a tap to the 61. That's TJ Crandon. Crandon's gone up the track. And it looks like he's made contact with the 65 of Steinhauser. Steinhauser just tapping the fence. But Crandon just managed to keep it off the fence. And they all go spinning down into the infield. Oh, secondary contact there actually for the inside fence. The 61 of TJ Cranton. But that has brought out our first caution of the race here at the middle stage of lap 2. 3 cars involved in that one. As I said, the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, 65 Corey Steinhauser, and the 61 of TJ Crampton. As the field catches up to the pace car. And we'll settle things down once more. I think with how early this is into the race, we won't see too many pit stops. Mostly just people topping up with fuel. Maybe those cars that are involved going to get a little bit of repair work done. To Christian Poe faking entry. And I can see Pizzakemi's in, Paul Cox is in, Steinhauser is in, and Crampton is in. So Steinhauser and Crampton will be for damage repair, and it looks like Pizzakemi and Cox just to get a top up on fuel. Before Jaron Sanchez, looks like he is going to be OUT out of this race. This definitely puts a dampener on things. A lot of these drivers just wanting to get this over and done with. They're going to find it hard if they're going to keep getting cautions like this. Looks like the lights are out on the pace car. They'll get green at this time by. The order is going to be Hennessy, Harmon, Slama, Lizelle, Kraus, Hernandez, Burgess, Champeau, DeVore, Massia. Then Cook, Isaacson, Watson, Pentacup, Cox, Steinhauser, Pizzakemi, Crampton. Jaron Sanchez still sitting in pit lane. All right, here we go. Remember, the restart is in the restart zone at the leader's leisure. The pace car makes the hard left turn into the pit lane. And here we go. Off and racing. And that was a huge jump for Andrew Hennessy to commandingly take the lead. Thomas Harmon still remaining in second. Slama not getting the jump off the start that he probably would have hoped for. They go thundering down the back straight once more. Looks like Kyle Kraus stuck side by side on the inside line there. Got the 88, Jonathan Hernandez on his outside. Just behind them side by side as well was Matt Burgess and Chris Champeau. But they've got themselves sorted out. Still side by side for Kraus and Hernandez. And now they've single filed out. But the back of the pack is where the action is at the moment. The 61 of TJ Crampton. Oh, he's into the fence. Not sure what happened there, but that was definitely a big fence contact. Just up ahead of him, you can see Pizzakemi starting to make a move on the 5 of Mark Pentacuff. Looks like Pizzakemi is going to make that move stick. You can also see the 39, James Watson, trying to make a move on the 24 of Frank Isaacson. In fact, he's converted that into a move on Travis Massia as well now. Trying to get the 2 for 1. Oh, very low on the track. In fact, onto the apron goes the 39 car. Oh, and loose in the background, that's Steinhauser. It looks like he's able to keep going. Green flag still out. looks like the field has single filed out now. TJ Crampton, something's going on with him. Looks like he is broken. He's gone to the pits. He is broken. That car is DUN done. Go back to looking at the on-track action. And we actually have a caution on track. 24 Frank Isaacson on the back straight. See what happened to Frank here. Coming out of turn 2. He's just in behind Travis Massier there. In 13th. Wilcox behind him. And looks like Frank's just gotten loose there. Yeah, he's got the big tank slapper going. Oh, and the car's just hooked right on him. Does anyone hit him or does everyone miss him? Oh, Mark Pentacuff. How did Mark Pentacuff miss him? Pentacuff takes the road course there to get around Frank. Just for a quick trip through the grass. And that has brought out the second caution of this race. I think what we might do this time is we might go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, more action from the Gladiator 110 here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway coming up shortly. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Gladiator 110 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. A few cars pitted. We had Massier, Isaacson, Cox, Pizzicami, Pentacuff, Steinhauser all coming to the pits. TJ Crampton has come back out of the pits. So we'll see how that car handles for him. But everyone 11th on up still hasn't not pitted. Jones Sanchez still in the pits. So our order is Hennessy, Harmon, Slama, Lizelle, Kraus, Hernandez, Champeau, Burgess, DeVore, and Cook. That's your top 10. And then it is Watson, Cox, Pentacuff. Then Massier, Pizzicami, Steinhauser, Isaacson, Crampton. Looks like we're starting to get into the 2x2 formation, which means we'll be going green next time by. Yep, the lights are out on the pace car. The lights are out around the track as well. Fantastic crowd in attendance. The Output Racing League, second race of the championship chase. Second race of the championship chase. So here we go, 14 laps down when we get to the start finish line, which means just 96 to go. Who's going to get the advantage on the start this time? The pace car goes into the pits. And Hennessy went about halfway through the start box that time. Joe Slama with a much better restart. You also see the 88 Jonathan Hernandez getting a good run on the start there as well. He's moved down into the lower lane to try and take advantage of John Lozelle. There's cars a little bit of everywhere at the minute. The battle is on for second between Slama and Harmon. Looks like Slama has the advantage. Harmon, I think he got a little bit loose there. There's a big check up in the field. See Hernandez once again on the inside trying to take whatever advantage he can. He moves up on the inside of Lozelle once more, almost getting to the inside of Harmon as well. The outside line with the momentum, that's going to carry Lozelle back past him and now bring Kyle Kraus into the battle side by side with Hernandez. But Hernandez can't give up this inside line at the moment. He's got to try and make it work, because if not, then it's a long way till he can find a gap. Straight back up the inside of Lozelle. A little bit of a slide job there. Couldn't quite get it completed. Stuck side by side with Lozelle still as they come out of turn 2. And all this is going to be doing is absolutely chewing up those tyres for the 88 car as Lozelle moves over and takes authority of the line in front of Hernandez. Hernandez now going to start falling back a little bit. There's a gap behind 12 of Matt Burgess and he takes it. 2 of Christian Poe trying to look high around Jonathan now, but I don't think he's going to quite get there. As Hernandez definitely takes control of that position. You can also see Ryan Pizzakemi here side by side with Corey Steinhauser. These guys battling over peanuts at the moment. Got Steinhauser on the outside, Pizzakemi on the inside. But even in the back of the pack, that outside line really does have the momentum to keep someone in it. And just look at them go. They're practically inseparable here going down the back straight. Maybe a little bit of cheeky side drafting. See Steinhauser there with the advantage. Straight back up the inside goes Pizzakemi. No, not this time. Oh, and we've got a spinner in front. Who was that? I think that was James Watson in the 39. He's made it back onto the track, but he is now very far behind the field. And Steinhauser maintains position over Pizzakemi. And TJ Cranton's only 2 laps down in this. So if he gets a couple of cautions here shortly, he could be back on the lead lap and fighting for position once more. As it looks like Corey Cook up ahead, trying to make some gains of his own up the inside of Robbie DeVore. And he's just not quite going to get there. Yes, that inside line is definitely very difficult to try and make moves stick. If you're going to get there, you're going to have to send it on the outside by the looks of things, or you're going to have to go for a slide job. And maybe rough the person in the outside up a little bit. As now side by side goes Corey Cook and Robbie DeVore, and Cook gets the move made as DeVore went a little bit too wide. And it looks like side by side once more is Pizzakemi and Steinhauser. This time Pizzakemi does get the move made. And that is going to be all she wrote on that one. Now Pizzakemi is just absolutely surrounded by Speedway Memes Motorsports drivers. Got Paul Cox in front, Bruce Steinhauser behind him, and then the 2-lap down car of TJ Crampton. All of them Speedway Memes Motorsports drivers. Now we're going to set the camera to focus on crashes, see what's going on around the track. The 60 car crash trying to make a move on John Lozelle. Doesn't look like he's going to quite get there. Andrew Hennessy pulling away from Joe Slammer here a little bit. Thomas Harmon sitting in third. It looks like things just getting a little bit peaceful there in the background. With a 13 of Travis Massey with a huge wiggle going down the back straight. That's just allowed the 3 of Paul Cox to get around him. 60 car crash up on the inside of John Lozelle this time. Looks like he's got the pace to make the move made. And he does. He sticks it up into 4th. 12 of Matt Burgess trying to follow suit. Here goes Matt with his move now up the inside. And he's going to make the move stick as well. John Lozelle starting to lose positions hand over fist. In the background you see the 62 Corey Cook, the cooking monster, battling out side by side with Chris Champeau. Oh, it's loose. Corey Cook. Definitely not what the cooking monster wanted or needed, as he's now fallen back down to 10th, sorry. As Robbie DeVore got back around him. A couple of cars starting to bounce off the outside wall on the exit of 4 there. Not going to do the handling of these cars any good. Jonathan Hernandez trying to make a move on John Lozelle now. Him just stalking the back of that 23 car. Oh, and I see smoke up ahead. Didn't see anyone around. I do see the 12 of Matt Burgess going to the outside of Kyle Kraus. I can only imagine Kraus not having a great 1 and 2 there. And now he slipped back into 4th as Matt Burgess. Oh, he slipped back into 5th as Matt Burgess now slipped up into 4th. Hernandez all over the bumper of Lozelle, trying to pressure him into making a mistake. Let's see what Hernandez can do up the inside this time. A little bit of door banging going on coming off the corner. What we like to see. Kyle Crash just looks like he's not having a good time in this run. Probably be screaming for a caution so he can get some new tyres on that 60 car. It looks like TJ Crampton has pulled the pin on the race. He is OUT out. The 2 of Chris Champeau is a little bit vulnerable now to the 60 car crash with Carl. He's gone around. And that has brought out a caution. Let's take a look at that again in slow-mo. So coming out of turn 2. The Kraus just trying to work over the inside of Chris Champeau here. The Hernandez in front of him, going all the way down to the yellow line. And Kraus just gets the line that little bit wrong, maybe just gets a little bit too many berries on the jandle. Around he goes because of his positioning on the track there. The caution absolutely came out. A lot of people will be singing his praises right now. But for us, we are going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to see the effects of the pit stop cycle. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More action from the Gladiator 110 here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway coming up shortly. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway here for the Gladiator 110 on the Aussie Sim commentator channel for the Output Racing League, the second race in the chase for the championship. And Travis Massier has not pitted out there on old 23 lap old tyres. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's on much older tyres than that, because he just came in for a top up on fuel earlier or damage repair or something, but he definitely shouldn't be up there. I'll tell you that much for free. As far as everyone who's pitted, Andrew Hennessy, first car in, first car out of the pits. And Massier does pull into the pits this time, which will give the lead back to Hennessy. Joe Slama in there as well. So it looks like the current order is going to be Hennessy, Slama, Harmon, Lizelle, Burgess, Hernandez, Champeau, Devore, Cook, Cox, Watson, Kraus, Pentacuff, Massier, Steinhauser, Pizzakemi. We've got Frank Isaacson 3 laps down. Not sure what happened to Frank there, but he is currently 3 laps down. Steinhauser going back into the pits once more. The lights are out on the pace car. We're going to go green this time by. We have 16 cars left on the lead lap. 2 cars chilling in the pits and 1 car that is OUT out of this race. And everyone should be on somewhat fresher tyres. Should be. So here we go. We'll be 36 laps in the books when we get the green flag this time. pace car is in. And we're up and racing. Andrew Hennessy with another really nice start. And it looks like Thomas Harmon, who started third, already up on the inside. Joe Slammer trying to take over that second position. He's going to get there. Let's see if Slammer can hold on to third. And he can. As the top 6 immediately go single file. In fact, make that the top 9 now. As there still might be a little bit of a battle going on for 10th between Cox and Watson. Oh, side by side once more goes Robbie DeVore and Chris Champeau. Camp gets the position made. Oh, and Robbie DeVore looked a little bit loose there in the corner behind him. It's actually opened up the door now for Corey Cook to try and look to his inside to make a move. Cook not going to get up there and do anything. He's going to hold off, although he's hanging right on the quarter panel. The move might be on there. The move is definitely on in front of them. Between the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez and the 12 of Matt Burgess. Burgess getting that spot away from Hernandez. That's moving Burgess back up into the top 5. And Hernandez back into P6. I'm not sure what happened in the back there behind these guys. I think Robbie DeVore just slammed the wall a little bit. There's a little bit of check-up back there. The battle continues to rage on between Burgess and Hernandez. Looks like the heat has started to fall off between this battle here. Everyone's kind of single filed out at once more. We'll put the camera back on the focusing on crashes, see if we can see something as it pops up. It looks like these drivers might be gearing up for a little bit of a long run here. The way they've all single filed out. A lot of people towards the back, just looking like they're taking it a little bit of extra easy. I'm talking from about 7th on back. They're just not really pushing as hard as they could. But I think there is a battle going on for the lead though. There is. Thomas Harmon trying to get up on the inside of Andrew Hennessy here. Not going to quite do it this time coming out of turn 4. What's he got in 1 and 2? Nothing was the answer. Looks like he's just trying to throw Hennessy off his game here a little bit. Thomas, who is one of the more tenacious battlers in the field. He's had a long tenure here in the Output Racing League as well. You see a side-by-side back behind these guys a fair way. The 39 of James Watson and the 60 of Kyle Kraus. These guys battling it out over the 10th position. And it looks like it's Kraus trying to defend from Watson here. Watson has the preferred outside line. Or at least from what I've seen, the preferred outside line. Kraus manages to hold on the inside to remain in 10th. We're going to go back to focusing on crashes once more. I think I saw Brian Pizzicami He's hunting for position on Steinhauser once more. Trying to look at each and every single way around him. Both up, down, and through the middle. Steinhauser just running that stoic high line. Not giving Pizzakemi the chance to get to his outside. And Steinhauser himself looks like he was trying to size up a move on the 3 of Paul Cox. As the battle continues now between Pizzakemi and Steinhauser. Steinhauser just holding on to the biz at the moment. How long will he hold it for is the question. Close side-by-side battle in between the two. A little bit of a chess game when you start getting into this long drawn-out side-by-side battle. It's all going to be about who makes the winning move. And it looks like this time it was the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi as Steinhauser goes very wide in 1 and 2, allowing Pizzakemi through. And we're going to set these cameras back on, focusing on camera crashes. As the whole field has now gone single file. We're also creeping up closer and closer to the halfway mark. That'll be at lap 55. Definitely things just calmed down here. No one's really doing much of anything at the minute. See, in the background, Travis Massey is just really struggling at the moment. Falling off the back of the back by a fair way. We have a side-by-side between Kyle Kraus and Robbie DeBoer. It looks like an ongoing battle between Cox and Watson as well. And here comes Pizzakemi to make it 3 wide. Pizzakemi decided to experiment with an alternate dimension and backed out of the move. I think that spooked James Watson there a little bit. Paul Cox has now made that move stick. Although Watson's still trying to fight back on the outside. Super sends it in deep. And it has not paid off for him, as now he's going to be under pressure from the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi. But he's not going to let that happen as he squeezes up in between the two. We still currently have 16 cars on the lead lap. Got one car in the pits, 24 laps down, 2 cars OUT out. A lap down, car in 17th is Frank Isaacson, and we have Crampton and Sanchez with 18th and 19th, but out of the race. Oh, and Chris Champeau, very sideways there, going through turns 3 and 4. Like he's recovered and he's kept going. That was pretty near being a caution, as now Corey Cook gets the sideways and pulls out of, where was he? Just up in P7 there. As soon as these tyres are starting to go off, the cars are getting a little bit slidey for just about everyone. Now we're nearly 60 laps into this race. Now have 58 complete. This has been probably the biggest green flag run we've had this whole race. 26 laps so far, 27 when we reach the line this time. And also it's been pretty cool to see how these guys handle the track as big time slow. There's a 9 of Joe Salama. A little bit loose coming out of turn 4. And it looks like the 12 of Matt Burgess is going to get around him, so that's going to be 2 positions lost there for Salama. As now he's got Jonathan Hernandez on his tail. Hernandez looking to the outside to make the move, to make it 3 positions lost for Salama. Salama not wanting to let it go, trying to fight back, but he's not going to be able to do it. And so there's about to be a battle between Cox and Cook, as they're going to be battling over the 9th position here shortly, with the added spice of Brian Pizzakemi joining in the battle as well. There's Hernandez in P5. But that's not where we want to look. This is where we want to look. Looks like they're not actually going to battle now after all. They were just threatening to battle. Well, actually, on the 8-8, Jonathan Hernandez with not the greatest run through turns 1 and 2. Must have gotten a little bit loose on entry. Probably have to play around with the brake bias in car a little bit to fix that up. And that was a big smack into the wall for John Lozelle. And that time just a tap into the wall for John Lozelle. Also, it looks like our leader's starting to catch up to lap traffic. I don't want to look away from this little battle here that's starting to form, as both Burgess and Hernandez have absolutely closed into the tail of Lozelle. as we're almost 65 laps complete in this race. Oh, the two Chris Champeau's gone around once more. Oh, and on the front straight, John Lazelle's gone around. That's with the 12 of Matt Burgess. Nat has brought out the caution. Let's see what unfolded here for the 12 and the 23. Got a little bit of a tighter angle here. Coming out of turn 4. Oh, very loose was the 23 of John Lazelle. Straight across the nose of Matt Burgess he went. And that's just carted both cars into that inside fence. In fact, Matt Burgess, I think, managed to keep it off the fence. There'll be no damage for him. But what of the 23 of John Lazelle? For those answers and more, we'll find out after the break. More action from the Gladiator 110 coming up here shortly. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the Gladiator 110 here from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and pit stops are well and truly underway. Just currently riding on the back of the pace car. We're going to see who catches up to the pace car first. And by the looks of things, it is not going to be the 99 of Andrew Hennessy. In fact, I'm seeing the 38 of Thomas Harmon in the lead of this race. There it is. Thomas Harmon, Jonathan Hernandez coming out of the pits first and second in front of Andrew Hennessy, who's now fallen back to third. Got Matt Burgess fourth, Kyle Krass fifth, Joe Salama P6, Robbie DeVore seventh, Paul Cox eighth, Brian Piscami ninth, and Corey Cook in 10th. And James Watson, Corey Steinhauser, Mark Pentecoff, Chris Champeau, Travis Massier, John Lazelle. Now you got Frank, who's still in the pits, 37 laps down. TJ and Jaron Sanchez both out of this race. We're now going to cross with 69 laps complete. There it is, meaning just 41 laps to go. The lights are out on the pace car. We're going to get the green here with 40 laps left to run in this race. Now everyone is on fresh tyres And looking at the stationary time in the pits, no one took 2. That was a 13.8 second stop for Thomas Harmon. It's blistering quick. That is 2 tenths faster than literally everyone else in the field. Besides Chris Champeau, who also had a 13.8 second stop. Everyone had 14.0s or higher. In fact, Brian Pizzicemi had the fastest stop there, a 13.6. But here we go. And it looks like Thomas Harmon's chosen the outside line this time, trying to hold back Andrew Hennessy, who's restarting in 3rd. The pace car is in. Into the restart box we go. And we're off and racing. Huge jump for Thomas Harmon this time. But the battle is on for second between Hernandez. I was going to say in Burgess, but it's not going to be the case this time. It's Harmon, Hernandez, Hennessy as your top 3. And how many H names can I say before you get sick of it? In fact, that's it. We've only got the 3 H names. It looks like Hennessy already battled his way up into second off on the inside of Hernandez. Now Burgess smashes his chances of getting up into 3rd. It looks like he is going to get there. As Hernandez just not having the greatest of runs. Like some would say, Hernandez had a horrible run as he's letting Hennessy and Harmon slip away. Battle is still on for Kyle Krause as he's trying to get up on the inside of Joe Salama. That will be for the 5th position. Side by side also is Paul Cox and Robbie DeVore. As I can see just behind these guys, Steinhauser and Pizzicemi going at it once more, side by side. The 10th, and Steinhauser this time prevails. Pizzicemi has fallen back to 12th now behind James Watson. So the way I chalk it up at the moment, Brian Pizzicemi has won 2 out of 3 battles between himself and Steinhauser. Steinhauser actually looking pretty racy right now. As I said, sitting in 10th. He's got this little bit of a gaggle in front of him, which includes Corey Cook, Robbie DeVore, and Paul Cox. And it looks like if he's going to size up a move, he wants to try and do it on the outside. Robbie DeVore slips up in front of him quite nicely. James Watson was almost looking at making a move. I got balked there by his shallower entry compared to Steinhauser. And once more, we have single filed out in this race. We set the camera to focus on crashes and it looks immediately at John Lozelle. I don't know why it would do such a thing. And we won't mention the fact that John Lozelle actually had a second spin during the commercial break after he got rolling again in turns 1 and 2. There's Robbie DeVore. He is looking pretty good there in 9th. He wants to try and get back around Corey Cook. As Corey Steinhauser is looking to get whatever he can get right now. And don't forget, just for context, Steinhauser was the 19th fastest driver in practice. He's currently in the top 10. As I was saying, in practice, it's not about how quickly you can go over the 1 lap. It's about how consistent you can be in the race. And it looks like Steinhauser has been consistent enough to nab himself a top 10 for the moment. Just behind, you can see the battle starting to form between Pizzicemi and James Watson. As loose was Corey Cook on the inside line there. In fact, he might lose out on a few positions here. Steinhauser's on his outside. And it looks like Watson is probably going to get into this battle as well. Oh, Watson sideways. Watson around. And I do believe Watson has caused a caution. Yep, caution is out once more. So that mixes things up a little bit more. Go back up in front of the field. That's still Thomas Harmon in control of the race. He catches up to the back of the pace car. So the order right now, before anyone ducks into the pits, is Harmon, Hennessy, Burgess, Hernandez, Salama, Kraus, Cox, DeVore, Steinhauser, Cook as your top 10. And Pizzicemi, Champo, Masia. Oh, sorry. Pizzicemi, Champo, Lizelle, Masia, Pentacup, Watson. Frank is still in the pits. He's 48 laps down. And Crampton and Sanchez both OUT out. Got a few fakies not actually pitting. Corey Cook is the first of the pitters. And he's pitted out of 10th. It's going to move Pizzicemi up into 10th position now. Pentacup and Watson will move up to 11th and 12th. As we had 4 people take to the pits, it's Cook, Champo, Lizelle, and Masia. The laps are ticking down. We now just have 30 laps to go. That will be 29 when we get to the start finish line this time. And I don't think we've actually had a single lucky dog wave around this entire race so far. As the lights remain on for the pace car, we'll go at least one more time around. The one half decent thing about this track is that even though it's a mile long, it's a quick mile. Okay, it's a mile long track that drives like a short track. And from what I've heard, the Phoenix setup is actually quite comfortable around here, apparently. Here we go, let's see if the lights go out in the pace car this time as everyone's starting to get formed up. Alright, the lights are out, so it's going to be Harmon, Hennessy, Burgess, Hernandez, Salama, Kraus, Cox, DeVore, Steinhauser, Pizzicemi is your top 10. Pentacup, Watson, Lizelle, Massio, Cook, Champo, Isaacson in the pits, Crampton and Sanchez out. And this time, Thomas Harmon chooses the inside line. So let's see what he can do with just 27 laps left to run in this race when we get the green flag. Alright, here we go. The pace car makes a hard left turn into the pits. And into the restart zone we go. Green flag for Thomas Harmon. And while they get up to speed, we're going to crank it up. back to regular video now. As I still had to go turn something else down, but we should be all sweet now. Oh, contact. Steinhauser going for a half spin. Says it, but in the background behind him, the 13 Travis Amasia also going for a spin. Like he saved that one. Contact with the 39 of James Watson caused that one. Steinhauser still somewhat in the pack. Masia very, very far away from the pack once more. Thomas Harmon still leading the way from Andrew Hennessy. And what a lead Harmon's getting so far. Quite on par with what Hennessy was managing earlier, as I think I just saw someone in the background exit stage left. And there is the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. He's actually hit the wall a couple times there. And he's been stuck in the tyre barrier as well. I don't think we're going to get a caution for this one. But I think that car is pretty junk right now. Still trying to get it out of the tyre barrier though. Oh, there we go, he's going. Oh yeah, that left front is G-O-N-E gone. And I think he knows it. I set it to focus on crashes and somehow it goes to Steinhauser straight away. And now we're on Joe Salama and Paul Cox. These guys in 6th and 7th respectively. As Salama bounced off the fence a little bit. But the 2 of Chris Champeau in the background there trying to make a move on James Watson. We're in the final 10 laps now. It's exactly 9.5 laps to go. And Champeau has gotten that move to stick. Corey Cook now trying to make the move stick. Not quite there yet, just about. And there we go, that is the move stuck. Corey Cook, the cookie monster himself. Go back to focusing on crashes now. Straight back to Joe Salama in P6. As the laps are winding down in this race. And I was wrong. It's not 10 laps to go. For a second I thought this was a 100 lap race when it's 110. Duh. So we will now have 17 laps left to run in this race at the line. Not 7. Kyle Kraus goes for the move on Jonathan Hernandez. Nothing doing there. Saw another move being made in the background between Pizzakemi and Robbie DeVore. But Pizzakemi has made that move stick. You see the 2 of Chris Champeau right on his bumper as well, just lurking there. See if Chris Champeau can make the move into turn 1. There's a little bit of a puff of smoke ahead. I think maybe that was Travis Masia getting loose. Oh, big block being thrown by Robbie DeVore. There goes Chris Champeau up the inside. And Robbie DeVore trying to turn back under him. Oh, and there's contact. Around goes Chris, around goes Robbie DeVore. Oh no, John Lozelle catching a big piece of that one as well. Let's go back and have a look at this again as the caution is out. And let's actually back this right up to them coming out of turn 4. Get tighter view. And let's have a look at this. So is there contact as they come off of turn 4? No, not really. But Robbie Duvall just turned down there to try and block the two of Chris Champeau. Didn't want Chris to get up the inside, but Chris was there anyway. And Robbie knew there if he turned down any more, he was going to end up around. You can see the flame look out of the side of Duvall's car. He actually lifted very early to try and get the crisscross going. It was a good move from Chris Champeau. And a good crossover there as well for Robbie Duvall. But Robbie's just come straight back up and into his left rear. Corey Cook managing to miss spinning 6. Chris Champeau into the outside wall. And here comes Paul Lazelle, unsighted because he had James Watson in front of him, into the side, right into the driver's door of Robbie Duvall there. And that is quite unfortunate. But we are going to go for another quick commercial break now. When we come back, we should be able to watch the end of the Gladiator 110 right here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for race number 2 and the chase for the Output Racing League Championship here from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, presented to you by Gladiator for the Gladiator 110. And as you can see, Thomas Harmon and Corey Cook have both stayed out. They did not pit. And by the looks of things, Kyle Kraus up into third. He's only taken 2 tyres. And the first car on 4 tyres, Andrew Hennessy in the 4th position. So that's definitely just mixed things up a little bit here. So let's go through a full order. We've got Harmon, Cook, Kraus, Hennessy, Hernandez, Burgess, Slama, Cox, Watson, Pizzakemi. That's your top 10. Steinhauser, Massier, Champeau, Duvall in 14th. And then John Lazelle, who was just caught up in that crash, he is OUT out of this race. But Mark Pentacup, who is 9 laps down, but he's in the pits getting repairs. Frank Isaacson, who is 66 laps down in the pits getting repairs. And TJ Crampton and Jaron Sanchez both out of this race. They have 14 cars on the lead lap right now. It looks like we're about to get the 1 to green signal here. There it is, the lights are out on the pace car. Thomas Harmon has chosen the inside line. Now this will be a restart to watch, because you've got 2 cars in the very front on old tyres, the car on the inside second row on 2 tyres, car on the outside second row on 4 tyres. But the one thing you're going to have to watch here for is if anyone behind changes lane before the start finish line. There is a rule in this series where you can't change lanes before the start finish line. as the 24 of Frank Isaacson has made his way back out onto the track. 67 laps down, if you don't mind. So here we go, restart time. Thomas Harmon on 32 lap old tyres, Corey Cook on 19 lap old tyres. The pace car is going to make the hard left turn into the pit lane. And we're off and racing. Oh, and I think there might be a post-race review on that restart there. As 3 wide for second place they go. Oh, and around goes the 62. And so too the 60 of Kyle Kraus. I don't think the caution's come out. No, the field is still racing on at full speed. But the 60 and the 62 both having a crash on the back straight after 3 wide with Andrew Hennessy. And I think the 60 Kyle Kraus definitely feeling the worst of it. As he is on the road course just trying to get back to the pit lane. And here comes the field whizzing around behind him. We only have 9 laps to go now. Oh, and the battle is on for the lead just about. No, it's not. And the 88, Jonathan Hernandez, got very loose there. Looks like he has dropped all the way back to 7th. Will he maintain 7th or will he fall back to 8th? Looks like he'll hold on to 7th for the moment as he slots in behind James Watson. Eight laps to go. And this is where everything just really matters. Thomas Harmon still holding on strong to that lead. Just very surprising. Thought new tyres would have been the ticket around here. But he's only 3/10 slower on 30 lap older tyres. But here goes Andrew Hennessy now, making the move for the lead. Side by side they go into turn 1. Thomas giving him no room at all. Oh, and Hennessy got loose. They both got a little bit loose, but Hennessy got more loose than Harmon did. It gave Harmon the advantage. And looks like the 12 of Matt Burgess trying to buy into this battle as well. We now just have 6 laps left to run in this race. And Harmon has been overtaken. He's fallen back to 2nd, maybe 3rd, as the 12 of Matt Burgess is now up on his inside. You also see in the background there, side by sides, the 78 of Brian Pizzicami and the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. And Matt Burgess now takes over 2nd. Thomas Harmon starting to fall like a rock. The older tyres definitely starting to take their toll. As Paul Cox goes to the move. Steinhauser going for the move in the background as well. A big slide job from Steinhauser. And looks like Pizzicami going to try to turn under him. No, Pizzicami gave him a bump. And Steinhauser loose. Oh, Travis Massier got into him. And Robbie DePaul goes for a big spin as well. And smack into the fence. And that is going to bring out another caution. And I do believe this is also going to put us into overtime. With 4 laps to go, we are going to go into output overtime. So let's see what actually unfolded here for Corey and Brian. Back this up a little bit more. Obviously, Steinhauser getting a pretty good run here. And looks like he fancies himself as a bit of a late breaker here into turn 1. Gets right up on the inside of Pizzicami. He's a little bit sideways. as he attempts the slide job pass on Pizzacami. Gives him just a little nudge on the left front. Looks like all's fair there. Looks like Pizzacami trying to get turned under him to try and get back up his inside because he knows that Steinhauser's compromised for speed. I think he just misjudged it. Gave him a little love tap in the bumper. And with how hard these guys are driving, plus how unstable these cars are on exit, around goes Steinhauser. He tried to half save it. Couldn't quite get it fully saved. And Travis Smassia nowhere to go there, but just straight into the back of Steinhauser. And luckily, Chris Champeau getting through it. Robbie DeVore in avoidance goes very wide and loses it, and he's going to smack the ball as well. And Frank Isaacson managing to get around it nicely as well. So there we go. That's how that one unfolded. And as I said, this is going to put us now into output overtime. As let's get back to live pitches here. And Robbie DeVore has gone to the pits to seek repairs. Steinhauser has stayed out. And we're going to have our first Lucky Dog wave round, and it is the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. So we only have 13 cars now left on the lead lap. And your order is Hennessy, Burgess, Slama, Cox, Harmon, Watson, Hernandez, Pizzacami, Massia, Champeau, Steinhauser, Cook, Robbie DeVore, who I believe is actually still in the pits. He's just coming out of the pits now. We have Kyle Kraus, who is in the pits, currently 8 laps down, getting repairs. John Lozelle, who is 13 laps down, out of the race. Mark Pentecoff, who is going to overtake Lozelle here shortly for 15th. Frank Isaacson, 67 laps down, but he's on the track. And TJ Crampton out after 81 laps, and Sanchez out towards the start of the race. In fact, after the first incident on lap 2. That was 106 laps ago. So we should be getting the 1 to green signal here very shortly. As we are in output overtime. The lights are out on the pace car. 2 attempts at a green white checkered finish, and this will be the first one. Hennessy and Burgess on the front row. Salama and Cox row 2. Harmon still on his old tyres, sitting there in 5th. Will he hold on? 13 cars on the lead lap. The anticipation is absolutely electric right now. But here we go. The pace car is going to make the hard left turn into the pit lane. The field will come into the restart zone, and we're going to let them loose for a green white checkered finish. Here we go. Hennessy with an amazing jump off the line there, and he storms his way straight into the lead. Thomas Harmon blocking furiously from the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. He wants to try and hold on to a top 5 as much as he possibly can. Try and minimize the damage to the 12 of Matt Burgess being in front of him. Remember, only 12 points between them coming into this race. Side by side is Slama and Burgess. They're battling over the second position. And the higher up Burgess can finish, the better. As now it's white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it for Andrew Hennessy. And I think this is exactly what he needs right now. And by he, I mean Thomas Harmon, because behind him, battling side by side, is Hernandez and Watson. But coming out of turn 4, your winner here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway is going to be the 99 of Andrew Hennessy. Second place will go the way of Matt Burgess. Third, Joe Slama. Fourth, Paul Cox. Fifth, miraculously, is going to be the 38 of Thomas Harmon. As we're going to hold on here with Andrew Hennessy to see him celebrate. As you see, a little bit of bump and grind there between Steinhauser and Pizzacchemi. Maybe that was a little bit of a how's it going from Steinhauser getting turned by Pizzacchemi. Let's give him a little rub in the door, let him know that he didn't appreciate it. As Frank barrels it into the barrels at the end of pit lane. Here comes the burnouts from Andrew Hennessy. A very happy race winner here tonight. So we're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we are going to have driver interviews to make sure you guys stay tuned. And now it is time for driver interviews, and we're kicking things off with our Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award. And today's Hard Charger, starting back in 13th and finishing in P7, is going to be the one, the only, once I get the actual replay going, the James Watson. James, you had a couple of spins throughout the race, and you'll just tell me a couple of wall contacts as well. But mate, +6 for the race. in what is a very, very difficult track.
Yeah, I really can't figure out how I ended up in this position because like it was this whole race was eventful. Like I was struggling with tire wear. I spun twice. I ended up in the grass with with no caution, like a mile off of the main pack. I smacked the wall like a bunch of different times, including right at the end. Like I have no idea how I ended up here. This was a scruffy as hell race, but I I backed into this good finish. I will take it. I needed that to keep some sort of semblance of trying to hold on to top five in points because I'm certainly not making the championship four.
All right, now let's just look at the race as a whole. It was a little bit stop-starty throughout the race, but we did end up having a couple of green flag runs as well. What was that like from you transitioning from the stop-starts into the longer run?
Well, the long runs were really hard because I had it in fifth gear when I should have been in fourth, and I didn't find out what I was doing was wrong until like 4 year to go. So once I figured that out, I was a lot better. I was faster and uh, more consistent without killing my tires because I was like a solid 15% worse than everybody else running in fifth like an idiot.
All right, and I'm just having a quick squiz at the championship points here. You came into this race in tied for P6 with Paul Cox. In fact, yeah, tied for P6. So that's not bad. And you finished seventh here behind Paul, so you lose points on him, but you finished in front of Chris and Brian. More importantly, who are both tied for fourth in the championship. So you were only 3 points behind them coming in. So things might not be looking so bad for you as we start heading into the final race of the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for top five. Like I'm not even putting in any real thought into actually making the championship four. I'm just not on the level of a lot of the guys in this series. So if I can just end up P5 somehow, I'd be over the moon. I'm hoping, knock on wood, Dover has always been one of my better tracks, one of my favorite places to race at. So I'm hoping for a good run there. But yeah, just take what I can get. I'm pretty much I'm just happy to make the playoffs. Just happy to be here.
All right, before we let you go here tonight, James, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yes, sir. Got to thank everyone at Team Watson Racing Setups. Use checkout code WATSPIN39 for 5% off at checkout. Got to thank Chris Graham and the National Racing Network for always helping me out and sticking by my side. ZAS Designs for putting together all my paint schemes. And Martin Sports Sim Racing Apparel.
All right, James, thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home with the Hard Charger Award today. And we look forward to seeing you again next week when we head into Dover.
Here's hoping.
All right, guys, that was our Hard Charger Award winner this week, the 39 of James Beyblade Watspin. And I moved him out of the channel before he could say anything about it. Coming up next, we are going to have our third place getter. And today's third place goes to the 9 of Joe Slammer. Joe, podium at New Hampshire, not bad at all, mate.
Yeah, man, I'll take it. It was a tough race, a lot of fun racing, and come out with third. It's not a bad finish. I'm definitely happy with that.
Now let's talk about the race here a little bit more in depth. It was a little bit stoppy starty to begin with. We did have a decent green flag run after about lap 20, and then it just kind of devolved into a little bit of controlled chaos. What was it like for you going through, the different segments of the race with, the way that it kept changing and evolving?
Yeah, I think the race kind of played out the way I expected it to. Yeah, I thought there was going to be quite a few cautions, and we did get a couple runs in there, which was fun. Um, it just, I was able to kind of maintain a top three there for the first part of the race, and once I lost track position, I started making a couple more mistakes and burning up my tires, and kind of had to fight my way back there at the end, and just kind of got a couple lucky breaks, and was able to have a fun battle there with Matt with Paul at the end there for the third spot, and yeah.
All right, now let's talk a little bit more about the tire wear because it's a little bit weird at this track. If you stick it in fifth gear, you don't get the tire spin off the rear tires, but you definitely start pushing in the corner if you stay in fourth. Obviously, there's that greater risk of spinning out. What was it like for you trying to balance between being tight and being super loose?
Yeah, for me, I didn't even touch fifth gear the whole race. I prefer drive the car on the edge a little bit rather than be tight. So I'd rather do some throttle control, and that's kind of what you had to do because it was really easy to almost lose it there out of the corners, and it happened to me once or twice. And but I much prefer drive looser cars, and that's why I just decided to keep it in fourth the whole race.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, mate. We're going to be going to the Dover Raceway. Speedway? Raceway? One of the two. We're going to Dover. What's the feeling like for you as we head to the old trotting track?
Yeah, I really like Dover. I think it's a fun track, and I've ran well there in the past, so let's hope for the best.
All right, mate. Before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Just all you guys here at Output Racing, and for you for doing the broadcast. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much for coming out, Joe. Congratulations on coming home P3. Look forward to seeing what we can do next week when we head to Dover.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, guys. That was our third place getter here tonight. The 9 of Joe Slama. Coming up next, we have one of the most experienced guys in the field. And that's not just talking about his age, because he's been in this league, I think, pretty much since day dot. And of course, second place goes to the 12 of Matt Burgess. Matt, second place at New Hampshire in a race that was a little bit of sprinkled chaos. Definitely not a bad effort.
No, I'm happy. I was kind of worried about it, because you never know if you're gonna get caught in other people's stuff. I mean, John Lozelle kind of lost it in front of me, but he kind of locked it down a bit, and I got my brakes, so I didn't suffer any damage. And the way iRacing works, I got my positions back because I actually didn't spin or come too much of a stop. But so it didn't really hurt me. But that was, the major thing here is avoiding some of the accidents, and then kind of taking care of your tires. Although, with that last 15 laps, I had been playing with the brake bias, so then I turned it back up. I know a lot of people have low for the rear, but for that last kind of 15 laps, I turned it up because you can really dive into the corner.
All right, now let's talk about the beginning of the race there a little bit. It was a little bit of a chaotic start, a couple of early cautions, and then a couple of green flag runs there as well. What was it like for you just trying to navigate that first half of the race and trying to find a bit of a rhythm?
It wasn't too bad. The early cautions kind of threw it off, and I was hoping for some long green flag run just because of I mean, you can burn your tires off here, and then you can start making. If you save them, you can make your moves. It's hard to pass, so I was running the inside line pretty exclusively. Towards the end of the long run, I know in 1 and 2, I think the guys were going a lot wider into that second lane, and I was maintaining that inside line because if you caught the seam there on 1 and 2, it would actually help pull you around. so I could get good speed off of there, even with being on the inside. But overall, I mean, this track isn't. I would say it's not so much of a rhythm as it is, just. I mean, as long as you're hitting your braking points, I mean, you're going to be in rhythm on this track.
All right, now let's have a look at next week, Matt. We're going to be going to the concrete mile known as Dover. What's it like for you as we head into the man-made hell?
I like Dover, but I always have lately. It seems like I always have bad luck there, where I get caught in someone else's wreck. It's so easy to. I mean, it's like a lot. Here. I mean, if you're coming out the corner, it's easy to lose it. The only difference is obviously Dover is, you know, a lot narrower. So if they lose it coming out the corner, a lot of times they're going to bounce out that inside wall, come back up. Or it might slow them down enough where you're right behind them and you get caught up with them, and it puts you in the inside wall. I've had that happen, so it's going to be both corners 2 and 4 are just going to be treacherous as far as I guess surviving. But for me, I guess right now the way the points stand and getting into the final playoff, I got a bit of a cushion, so hopefully I can make it through Dover without any incidents.
Okay, you were 12 points ahead of TJ coming into this race. So, actually, no, 12 points behind Thomas and a point in front of TJ. And with TJ's DNF in this race, definitely set you up pretty well, especially considering Brian and Chris both falling short of James Watson. So, a little bit of shenanigans going on behind you in the points, but, you should be pretty comfortable heading into this last race.
Yeah, it's a good cushion, but like I said, it's gonna be like this track. If you caught up with someone and then Dover is gonna be a little bit different because if you get caught up in someone and you're pretty much gonna hit the concrete wall where it might break your toe link and that'll be your day done.
All right. Before we let you go here tonight, Matt, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Give a shout out to Thomas for not taking any tires there. He helped us out quite a bit. Shout out to you for the broadcast, and then shout out to all the guys that come every week. It's a lot of fun. Even when I've kind of got caught up in some other people's incidents this year, it's you kind of get grumpy with that for a little bit, but I mean it's racing, and it's been a really fun season, and look forward to these last 2 races and see how they go.
All right, Matt. Thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home P2 and just narrowly missing out on the hard charger award as well. But we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go to the concrete hell known as Dover.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys. That was our second place getter here tonight. The grumpy old man of the group, the 12 of Matt Burgess. I moved him out of the way before he could say anything as well. But coming up next, we are going to have our winner here tonight, and he's definitely starting to make a habit out of this. Of course, it is the 99 of Andrew Hennessy. Andrew, you pretty much dominated this race. You're at the front for just about all of it. What was the race like for you? Being away from all the chaos of the mid to backpack.
Yeah, the race was pretty calm for me for the most part up until the end, where I led like the first 2/3 of the race basically, and then ended up messing up on pit road and undershooting my stall, and then I fell back a little bit into second, and I found out it was really hard to pass at that point. And then basically when I lost caution, or I guess that cautioned me before everybody pitted for last pit stops. I was just going to do the opposite of the leader, or I was going to take 2 if he pitted. Was kind of what I was thinking. But ended up going on pit road, taking 4 tires, and then getting past the guys who didn't take tires and stayed out, and ended up getting back into the lead.
Let's talk about just those last couple of restarts because we ended off with a green-white checkered there. What's the feeling like with the pressure of just trying to hold on for those last 2 final laps?
Yeah, mostly just not trying to get a bad exit or bad exits out of the corners because this car can just slide right from underneath you. Like you get on the throttle just a little bit too early, and then terrible exit, and there you have two people right behind you about to pass you. So it's mostly just getting a good jump and then not going fast, but like making sure you just get a good enough exit so that they can't get close to you, and just having like the last few as smooth as possible.
All right, Andrew. Now let's look forward towards next week. We're going to be going to the Monster Mile of Dover Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head into Delaware?
That's not my favorite track, so I don't know how that's gonna go.
All right. Well, before we let you go here tonight, mate, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I want to thank the people who put on this league and everyone else who races in the league. Everyone races very respectfully, and it's been a lot of fun racing the past few weeks with these guys.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home with another win. Look forward to seeing what we can do next week when we go and take on Miles the Monster.
Thank you, yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
All right, guys, there is our winner tonight, the 99 of Andrew Hennessy. All right, that is going to wrap things up for us here tonight. Thank you all for coming out. It's been an amazing season so far. Only 2 more races left in the season. So make sure you guys stay tuned. These last 2 races are going to be fantastic. So until next week, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys at Dover.